Yeah.
Hello. Good morning.
Hi.
Good morning.
We're a little behind this
Hola.
morning.
Are we?
Well, let's just say we're all feeling like moms of littles today.
Yes.
Yeah.
But today we are going to be talking about family goals, and I just wanted to let you know that we are Juice Box Moms. We're here to encourage you. We're here to let you know that you can do this, and you are made for this.
And you're not alone. We're not alone.
Yes.
We're not alone.
You know, sometimes it feels like it.
Yeah. Oh, can you check comments too?
That's what I was saying. Yes.
You're so good.
Yeah. All right, girls. So tell me, how was your week? Your Valentine's Day, Love Day, as Daniel Tiger
Love
calls
day.
it.
Yeah, love day. It was good. It was funny. I actually told my son the story of Saint Valentine, and at the end of it, I'm thinking this is so good. He goes, "Is that it?" Yeah, isn't that romantic? Okay, Mom. It's really good. If I would have told how he died, they would have perked up and listened.
Yep.
They're like blood, guts, and death. They're all about that. So, anyway, but I didn't because it's really gross. Don't look that up.
I'm totally looking that up.
I
should probably know it.
So I had some pretty clear expectations. I didn't realize I had expectations, and about what it would be like. Joel did an amazing job. So good job, Joel. Brought me flowers and chocolates, which is so classic, but that's all I wanted. I was like, please don't be creative. Just give me the things that I want, flowers and chocolates.
Amen.
So he nailed
And the
it.
good chocolates, because he was leaving. I go, get her the good chocolates.
Good job. Good job. But with my kids, you know, they showed appreciation for the things that I gave to them. But, you know, usually on special times, I don't realize it, but I have these expectations with my kids. And sometimes I know that the space between reality and your expectation is just, it's disappointment. So I was a little bit disappointed sometimes because, like, I gave them these cute little gifts, and then they were like, so do you have any more for us? And I'm like, are you serious? Or I made this like really nice, well, for me, I'm not a cook, so, but I made them like strawberries on waffles for frozen waffles, but still.
Who cares?
And
They don't.
and the
Nope.
table looked pretty and everything, and it's just like, of course, but the same dinner stuff still happens. Like, I didn't want to eat that, or my eggs have brown on them, that kind of stuff. And I'm like, come on, it's Valentine's Day, that kind of stuff. So I just have to check myself on these special occasions where I work hard and I expect them to be like, Mommy, you were like the best. That's not usually what I'm gonna get, especially from my older one who's not as emotive.
And I feel like you're setting up like these traditions. Like, you know, right now they don't get it, but maybe next Valentine's they'll say, oh, do we get the strawberries and whipped cream and the waffles?
Yeah.
You know, so you're setting those traditions for something they can look forward to and realize that was a really cool treat, you know? So
maybe when he's 21, he'll call me and he'll say, Mom, I love you.
I miss your waffles.
Oh, will you tell me the story of Saint Valentine?
I say, well, I looked up how he died.
It's gross.
Oh my gosh.
My Valentine's Day, I had sick kids, so we were stuck in the house, and it was rainy. So it was kind of all things considered, it was a decent, good, calm day. But
Really?
It was surprisingly. It was
Sometimes fevers take them down a notch.
It was incredibly boring. And by the time Ryan got home, I felt like, just make me think. Like, tell me a riddle. I need to think. I need to do something. Because my brain was just so bored. But I gave them little pink socks with unicorns and hearts on them. And they were excited about them, but didn't really like say anything, and they just put them on, and I was like,
Do you see the
Can
unicorn?
you say thank
Do
you?
you see how they're pink?
By the time in the evening, this was at breakfast. In the evening, Dad came home, and they were all telling him about their unicorn socks with hearts on them. So they were excited, but same with you. It was like, Mom, you're awesome. Thanks for buying us little socks. You know, it's none of that. It was like, oh, nice. And then they were excited and told Dad about them. So I know they liked him, but
We need to do
same
like
kind of
a spoof video of the things in our minds we think that they'll do when we give them things. then what actually happens, because it's so different.
I think I just felt behind because we do this thing where we put hearts. We write 14 reasons why we love them on hearts and stick them on paper. 14 days leading up to Valentine's Day, and we've kind of just been doing them in chunks when we have time. But they're still on our counter, and I think there's only like 9
But
filled out.
they can't
So
count. They can't count.
They can't count.
Take
I think today I'm
advantage.
just gonna find a few more things, and
That's really. I was impressed when I saw that.
it's
was
really
like,
fun. But they won't appreciate it till they're like older.
21.
It's okay. You keep it in a scrapbook.
I am.
Like,
I'm
this is
putting
what
it
I
in
did.
envelopes, and I'm gonna give them to them, and they better,
Oh yeah.
feel very low.
Me too. That's what I'm doing.
Expectations.
Totally. I'm writing all those things down and putting them in them.
So far, there's
That's impressive. I have to just gold star.
Thanks.
Yay! I think Becca wins. I don't know. I don't know. Actually, you have something to tell people. You've announced it.
Yes. I didn't make crafts for Valentine's Day, but I did. I am growing a baby, so
That's enough for all of it. So fun.
So yeah, I actually announced it yesterday. For those that don't know, I actually work 2 days a week at the church for this woman's husband in student ministries and college and young adults. So I worked yesterday, and I announced to the staff first, and because I'm a big believer in like letting your family people know before you broadcast it. Although I'm sure I forgot people because that's what happens when you're pregnant. And
Actually, the comments are flooding in of all the people that you didn't tell.
How dare you!
Your grandma.
I actually don't know if I told. Anyways, so that was like the highlight of my Valentine's Day. Other than that, I showed up to the nursery yesterday, and everyone's in pink and red, and I'm like, oops. Like the teacher in me used to do all of this stuff,
Like
and then,
heart earrings.
I was telling her, I decorated my classroom. I handmade them all Valentines. Like,
Incredible.
I mean, Valentine's is like my holiday. It's pink, it's glitter, it's red,
Love.
sparkles, it's hearts, it's chocolate. So, yeah, it changes when you.
It's okay. I wore orange yesterday and this today, and I didn't really.
I could have at least put James in like a red shirt. I mean, it would have fire trucks on it, but yeah, I didn't think that through.
You're going baby.
Yeah.
Well, today we are talking about family goals and setting family goals. Were you going to say something? That was one of those moments where you went, and then I started talking instead.
No.
Okay.
Oh, well, I was gonna say hi to people. But
Say hi to people.
Hi,
Yeah.
Sydney, Roxana, and
Minerva. Hi, Minerva.
Minerva and Ryan. Thanks for watching.
Oh, Ryan.
All those two
How's
Fox stars
breakfast
out there.
going?
Yeah, how's breakfast going?
Put phone
Just
down.
kidding, I don't want to know. We'd like to talk about setting family goals. And if you would have said, hey, what's your family goal? A couple years ago, I would have just looked at you with like mean eyes and said, are you serious? I'm just trying to keep my kids alive. I'm just trying to shower, those kinds of things. But we realized that when you don't set family goals, even if it's just one goal about this is what I want our family to look like, it's hard to hit it. You know, it's hard to hit a target that you don't set, and it's impossible to take action steps towards a target that's not even there. So we've tried to be more proactive now that I feel like I'm coming out of the haze, some of the haze of babydom. And so yeah, that's what we're talking about today. Would either of you like to share something that, or have you thought about that before, or kind of springing this on them a little bit? So, and then we want to hear if you set a goal for your family. We'd love to know what it is, because maybe we'll steal it
Yeah.
and add it to ours, because we can always grow.
Well, let me pull mine up because it was kind of neat because a while back I was just feeling really discouraged on like you're disciplining, you're correcting, you're training these kids, and then you're kind of like, oh, why, they're not getting it. Is this really worth it? Will they get it? What are we even aiming for? And it helps to have that kind of big picture idea of when they're teenagers, when they're adults, what kind of kid do I want to have raised? And it makes all the little hard moments a little bit more worth it if you can fall back on something. So Ryan and I actually went on a date and had coffee and talked about it, so that was fun. I would
You're
recommend
so
it.
organized.
So make a date.
Well, it's just fun to have a reason.
I
you
love
know,
it.
Other than just dinner and a movie, and what do you talk about? Kids, anyways. So,
That's true.
but ours are, we want them to be Christ-centered.
What does that mean?
Basically, they do everything for Him and because of Him. Just getting His care, trying to be more like Him in everything that they do, and honor Him and serve Him. And then character-based, so that kind of falls back onto the fruits of the Spirit, but we wanted them to be.
What are the fruits of the Spirit? So, fruits of Spirit, these are very Christian terms that we're using. It's basically things that, character traits, things that make us who we are.
Peace, kindness, joy,
Love.
love, patience,
Gentleness.
faithfulness, self-control. Yeah, if I sung the song, I'm not singing the song.
So you want them to have character, and you're disciplining towards character,
Yeah,
not just
being honorable,
to say no or
truthful.
to
Yeah.
be moral.
Yeah, and it started when you're like, okay, you need to be nice, and we're like, well,
Why?
why do they need to be
Huh.
nice? So we kind of switched it to kind, because it had a deeper meaning for us, and we can point back to the Bible and say, here's why you need to be kind, because Christ asked us to be kind. So Christ-focused, character-based, and then others-focused. So serving others, loving on others, but we want that to come from a place of having grace for them, not judging them through their own lens, but looking at them how Christ would look at them, and serving them and loving them.
So that's hard though in our culture. I feel like all of our culture is self-centered,
Right.
and a lot of American culture is built on that idea that you pull yourself up by your bootstraps. You focus. Businesses have sort of moved from this company feel to just get ahead and do what you need to do to get ahead. And I think that's reflected in media and so many things around us.
And it's also too easy to raise kids, or even to be yourself, a little self-righteous. Like, well, I can do it really well. Why can't you? Or I've made it really well. What happened to you? And just the whole.
You mean you're saying
judging.
this sort of your kids or to other parents?
It's easy for us to become this way, or to raise kids this way of
Self-righteousness.
self-righteousness. Yeah.
So you're saying moral kids. It's easy to raise moral kids, but not necessarily. Like, behavior is one thing, but when behavior is driven by a belief system that others are more important than them, that's what we wanted.
Yes.
Because beliefs are what determine everything, and at the end of the day, once they leave, if they're moral, that's great, but eventually they're going to revert back to their core belief. And if your core belief is, I'm more important than the rest of the world, well, that
And that's the
morality
one
is
we're
going
born
to
with.
start to chip away, right?
Yeah, and that's the one we're born with, and it comes out
Absolutely.
often in all things. And then family supported. So we want to be a safe place for them to explore, learn, grow, mess up, fail was the big one. We want them to be a safe place to ask questions. We want, when they have something that they're dealing with, for us to be the first person that they can trust to come to.
So question, what are some action steps, because that was a lot, and those are all so good, I'm going to still lose two of those.
Yeah.
Maybe pick two of them and tell everybody what your action steps are. So like, here's the goal. What's one thing you're doing right now with your kids and your family to reach that goal?
For me, I'm preparing for the why questions.
So talk about
Preparing for the why questions. Because I don't want to say, just do it because I told you to. And when you're tired and they've asked for the 15th time, but I want to have good reasons, like why should they be kind? Those kind of things. Why should we love others? Why are they more important than me?
Why should I listen to you?
Why should I listen to you? I want.
Who are you?
I want the good answers to the why questions, and then I have another one that. So the family focus, the why, the safe place to fail. Even now, as she's only almost 3, our oldest, so there's not a whole lot of huge, moral things that she's coming into contact with. But even when she comes to me and she's so honest, she tells on herself all the time. You won't get away with anything at this point.
That's awesome.
Which is great now. I, probably won't last. But
I did
anytime
that
she
up until I
comes-
was like 13.
I did too.
Yeah.
I
I
Oh,
couldn't
that'd be
sleep at
lovely.
night. I would wake up my mom to be
I would
like,
like
Mom,
vomit.
see,
Yeah,
I'm
I
telling
was
you.
like that. I was like that.
my kids aren't like that.
But
They'll
so
lie to me.
anytime she comes to me with those little things, or oh, I broke this, or I did that, or I pushed my sister, instead of acting on my first instinct of like frustration and or just heavy correction, I like to make a big deal that she came and talked to me, like, oh, thank you so much for telling me about this, and then I can go from there, like creating that safe space so that when she's 13 and she makes a really big mistake, or when she's 16 or 18, she can feel safe to come to me, because the first thing I'm going to do is thank her for coming to me and ask her, well, why did you do that? What were you thinking when you did that? Instead of just attacking her mistake.
I need to grow in that. I'm like, you
It's
did
not,
what?
it's not perfect all the time, but I want to train myself
That's
that
awesome.
way, and then teach her.
Well, don't you feel
that
like that's
the way to be.
that's the goal though? Is that we're not going to do this perfectly,
Right.
and our action steps are going to fail over and over. But just having them as a goal,
Because then when you fail, it pops up in your head, oh, that's not the way I want to do this.
and you can tell them that. Like, I'm
Mhm.
sorry. Like, my goal as a mommy is to just really make this safe for you to talk to me, and I didn't do that just now. Please forgive me. Like, but if you don't have that goal, you
Mhm.
can't do that. That's a really good one. Thanks for sharing that. Well, we want to hear again your family goals. So if you have them, post them, and we want to read them out loud. Kelly, do you have one or two you want to share?
So honestly,
You're such a brand new little family.
I know,
So it's
I
like,
know.
What do I?
So like all that you said is like absolutely like that's huge on my heart. But it's have such it's such a young family.
Yeah.
So honestly, like a big goal to me to like kind of go off to the side is to have community. Like I didn't necessarily grow up with cousins and aunts and uncles I was close with, and I mean and we won't have that either. James won't have that. So
He'll have family.
so that's where we want James and our next born to just know that they are loved and cared about, and that they have family, they have community, they're loved and protected, and we can, if he goes to a friend's house, we know he's in a safe zone where it's like he won't be hearing F-bombs and he won't be, you know what I'm saying? Like, we just want our family to grow up with community and Christ-centered community where we're all on the same page and we're all praying for each other and we're holding each other accountable to, our actions, and I can literally like, this is how my day went, you guys, like help me sort through this. And
Experience grace in that, and know that it's a safe place.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that's, so then church is probably really important
Absolutely,
to you? Because church is that. It's meant to be a community of safety. It's not always that,
Yeah.
but it's meant to be a safe community where you can share and know
100%.
that people have your back. And
yeah, and where your son
Love
can
being
like
around.
run down the aisle and like everyone knows there's James Griffin, and like
Yeah.
he's safe. And I guess
That's rare in these.
it
in this
absolutely is. And again, like I would love for him to have dozens of cousins and aunts and uncles, and that's not the cards for us. So I don't want my kids to know the difference. I don't want them to say, oh, you have a cool uncle coming to visit you at school. Like, it might not be his uncle by blood. It might be, Joel coming to say,
You do that.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? But like Uncle Ryan, like, like we're going to the park today. I just want them to grow up knowing that they're loved and cared about, and that there's a community that just looks out for you, and that we're all on the same page. Like,
It sounds like there's just something about being human that makes us want that, because with what you were saying, you want that. Well, you're wanting community, and you're wanting your kids to grow up in. What did you say? It was like. My coffee just failed me. I had a really good thought, but it's gone. Anyway, I think we're made for that. We're made for community. We're made to be holding each other accountable and to be others focused. That's what you said. And when we're focusing on other people and not ourselves, we can be the kind of community that you desire for James.
Mm-hmm.
But without that, we close our door and we don't talk to neighbors and we don't reach out to people, and it can be so lonely. And I'm not surprised that there's this whole, everybody has there's part generational stuff where, what am I saying? I really need more coffee. I don't want to blame like the last generation for being selfish is what I realized I was about to say. And I don't, because there's parts of us that are all selfish,
Mm-hmm.
and not one generation better than the other. But I do think there has been a cultural shift where we are just looking more inward, because I think of things like social media, which we're using and we appreciate it, but it's so easy to be like, oh my goodness, how many people liked what I put, instead of what's going on in Kelly's life, how can I pray for her? And,
Yeah.
does that make sense?
And it's, rather than posting like, here's my perfect Valentine's and this, like, Kimmy was like, look at my house, it's messy, I got kids. I was like, yes, like, that's cool, like, let's be real, Life is hard sometimes, and I mean, like you said, others focus.
More often than not, don't you think?
Absolutely.
Hard but good. Like,
Yeah.
finding the joy in the hard stuff, that's what you have to do, otherwise you're just faking it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard even with these goals. You set goals that you want for your kids, but then you realize that means you have to live a certain way to be an example of these goals, to teach them these goals, and then you're like, oh, well then I need to be others focused in this way, and how am I not doing that? And you see all the areas where you're not doing that, and it helps you grow, but it also it's a big challenge, because you're like, well, I want my kids to turn out a certain way, so I need to really live that way.
Which is really hard to do. That's probably why kindness isn't on my list. Like, they're definitely not going to see that for me.
That's not true. This girl showed up at Bethany Bible yesterday with cupcakes to show the love of Christ, and honest to God, it made.
Cupcakes with the little sticks in it.
Yeah. No.
I mean,
But-
totally, yes, I did.
Made my whole day when her little son gave me a little, what was it, Paw Patrol Valentine, and it's just like, it really does touch your heart. Like you did share the love of Christ. Like.
Well, that's one thing that is one of our goals is, I think sometimes when you grow up in this, it can tend to be a bubble. Like, you grow up and you learn about God and His love for you, and sometimes it can be easy to think that other people don't want that or need it. And in this day and age, culturally, I feel like half the things we say as Christians is considered like hate speech, when it's like, no, like, look at Scripture, God loves everybody. And I think we forget that. And I want my kids to know, like, from an early age, that they can share the unconditional and unfailing love of God with anybody that they know, because it's changed our lives so much. I want to share that with other people, and I want them to feel like this is a part of life. This is what you do. You share that with people because it's changed our lives. We want it to change other people's lives. So, so that's one thing we did. And then let's see. I want my kids to know that, they can fail, and that failure is good. It's a stepping stone to learning and growing. If we're not failing often, we're not learning and growing. And
It's
so,
real life.
yeah,
We're not all going to succeed at everything.
Well, and I can share stats on that because I'm actually obsessed with learning about failure. I think it's really interesting. And but I think, let's see if I can get this right. Let's see if I've had enough coffee. 50% of the decisions made by top 500 Fortune 500 companies, their decision, 50% of them have failed. And I just think that's really interesting because we think we have to be perfect all the time in order to succeed. And actually, the companies that are doing the best right now in the world, 50% of their ideas have failed, and they've tried them and they've failed. So I think we need to be reminded, even as moms, and remind our kids that failure is good. And it's not something to be avoided. It's something to lean into. And but it's hard. Like, when your kid is, like, I posted a picture of Augie doing, like, tricks on his bike. As a mom, I'm like, but I don't want to do that because I need him to be good at it so that he won't fall.
Hard.
And so Noah is always asked, because he's more cautious, my firstborn. He's like, so that's dangerous, right? And I said, well, buddy, something's only dangerous if you don't know how to do it. So you need to learn to do it right. That way you won't fall. Because, rock climbing is very dangerous if you don't know what you're doing, but the professionals, actually, it's not dangerous for them at all. So, but that's hard because because it means letting them go out and climb trees and
It means you have to watch them fail
hit their
sometimes.
head and yeah.
Even
Chris
if
is
it's not
better at that
physical,
than I am.
physical bumps
dads
and
are
bruises.
tend to be.
Yeah.
Wait, what were you saying?
Well, even if it's not physical bumps and bruises, it means they're gonna have to try and fail in junior high and high school and reaching out for
It's
friends.
gonna be hard.
Yeah.
No participation award for you.
And again, this is why you need community, because you need other moms in your world going, don't say anything.
Yeah.
Just, or don't take him his homework when he forgets it. That's gonna be
Yes, with a teacher. Yes.
hard. I'm gonna be like, but he needs it.
No. If you've been through this already and you told them and you set those consequences,
It's good. So you've heard it from
From a teacher,
Just
professional.
Let him fail.
amen. Absolutely.
My-
My next 10 minutes of recess, they'll learn.
Oh, it's so hard because you feel what your children feel.
Amen,
And so, like Noah almost lost. He has been talking about this zoo trip for. Oh, okay. We need to wrap up. Anyway, he almost lost the zoo, and I'm like, "Are you sure? Are you sure you want to lose the zoo? Are you sure?" Because I'm like, "No."
Right?
Like, this is like your thing. But anyway, he took it.
He made it.
He made it. He made it. Anyway, so one more thing, maybe to wrap up. The other family goal we have is we're for each other. So my kids are very competitive. I don't know where they get it. But they are always competing and comparing. And I'm just trying to teach them, don't compare. Things are different, but don't compare. Great if you're faster than him, but affirm that he's doing really well too and learning and growing. So I want to be a family that's for each other and not competing against each other. So that's huge. Well, did anybody share their goals? I would love to know.
Not that I can tell.
Well,
Hi,
if you're
Roxana.
if you're still working on that, or if this is the first time, if this is the first time you've ever heard of even setting a family goal, that's okay. Like, it's never too late to start that stuff. I just recently did it, so, and I have a 6-year-old.
Well, and it takes a while for you to realize
Figure
that
out
you
what you
need
want.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So set that goal, even if it's simple, and talk to other people. You could still all of ours just put it together and have like this awesome goal list.
Yeah.
So, well, as always, we want to pray for you because we know that momming is hard. Dadding is hard. How would you say
Parenting.
Parenting.
More
Tell you,
coffee. More
I am
coffee.
not firing on all cylinders today. So Kelly, would you pray for all the
Absolutely.
moms out there?
Oh, Lord Jesus, we come to you this morning with just grateful hearts. We thank you for these moms that are out there that are just learning, God, as we learn ourselves. We just ask you to bless them and help them to find the goals that fit their family in order to follow you and to navigate through the rough waters that happen in this world these days. Lord, thank you for this morning and for this time together. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Bye.
All right.
Bye.
Hashtag juicebox.
Yes. Carrie's not here. Hey,
Hash
Carrie.
browns and eggs.
I think you're probably the most equipped to do that. Juice box mom's out because I can't do it.
Out.
Make sure to check out some resources on the website www.juiceboxpress.com. I apologize for not updating the resource page. I will do that this week.
Goals.
Okay. Goals.
Hashtag goals. Hash browns.
Hash brown.